What if we took Durant's career and put it in reverse? Meaning now he'll start off on the Phoenix Suns before joining the Brooklyn Nets, the Golden State Warriors, and eventually finishing up his career with the Oklahoma City Thunder, where his legacy is sure to look completely different. Because now he's not starting on a losing roster like he did in real life with the Sonics. He'd be joining a two-time MVP who just the season prior led his team to 61 wins, paired with one of the league's most explosive forces and a veteran all-time great big man down low in Shaq, which meant there was very little immediate pressure on KD to perform in his first season, and as a result, his game would flourish naturally. His scoring shined the brightest, pouring in over 24 points per night in a variety of ways, and in large part was thanks to Nash setting him up for easy looks in the flow of the offense. By no surprise, he was being crowned as the Rookie of the Year, but more importantly, he had a chance to contend for a ring. Come the playoffs, Phoenix was the hottest team in basketball, and in his postseason debut, Durant was looking like an experienced vet in this league. The Hornets stood no real chance, and the Suns were crushing them quickly. But things were about to get much more difficult in round 2 against the Lakers. Kobe Bryant was the best player in the world at this point, and was still on a mission to win a ring without Shaq. And to raise the tension even higher, the Lakers and Suns have had a rivalry throughout the mid-2000s. So needless to say, this series was going to be a complete dogfight between the two top teams in the West. On paper, Phoenix looked to have the edge. They had the NBA's top point guard leading the charge, and an incredible front court with Amari and Shaq. Pair that with some solid role players from 1 through 5, and they easily had the full package. LA, on the other hand, also had an impactful front court with Gasol and Bynum down low. And while they didn't have a star point guard, they were still well structured from top to bottom as well. But ultimately, this series would come down to the main scoring powerhouses, Kobe Bryant and Kevin Durant. You can have all the talent in the world, but at the end of the day, you have to put the ball through the hoop to win the game. And that's something both of these players excelled at. They were clashing head to head throughout this entire series, and while we'll see plenty more of this action in the future, for now, KD just didn't have enough experience yet. And by no surprise, the Mamba would have the last laugh. They may have lost the series, but as just a rookie to go head-to-head with Kobe Bryant, that says a lot about KD. And that experience against Kobe would only benefit the young budding star, evolving his game the following year after taking notice of some of the ways Kobe worked in the offensive end. He was pulling from Kobe's toolbox and incorporating it into his own play, which was then enhanced even more by Durant's unique size and length, creating an absolute unit at scoring the basketball. This rise of his game was coming at the perfect time too, because while Nash was still an elite guard, age was starting to catch up to him by now, meaning KD was taking the reins as the #1 guy on the roster. And with the new responsibilities, he would shoulder the weight and lead his team to another very successful regular season, all in preparation for a rematch against the Lakers and Kobe Bean Bryant. But this time, Kevin Durant was far more prepared and wanted his revenge. He would put every single trick he learned this year to use in this series, and use Kobe's own moves against him by unleashing a full-blown attack from the mid-range area, scoring nearly 30 points per game in the series and leading the charge for his team. Of course, Kobe wasn't going to crumble so easily in the sights of the 20-year-old star, and as such would retaliate with his own scoring excellence to keep things interesting. Both of the stars would give fans electrifying performances every game, with each final buzzer ending in a tightly contested match. But in the end this year, KD and his Suns had the edge, including one of the most exciting series of the modern era, and with it, Kobe Bryant had a lot of praise for KD.
Who's the toughest guy to defend?
Kevin Durant.
Okay.
Kevin Durant.
Moving into the conference finals, Durant's impressive run was continuing against San Antonio, who have had one of the longest stretches of success in sports history, but lacked any score on their roster that can match the output seen from KD. With a commanding 3-1 lead, they would make a statement to the league in Game 5. The Suns with a huge blowout win here over the Spurs, one of the greatest teams of all time. This is a statement that Phoenix is the real deal. And just like that, in year 2, Durant is already headed to his first NBA Finals, where he'll be meeting a new rival. LeBron James was dragging his team here for a matchup in the NBA Finals. This series would be similar to the duels KD has had with Kobe the past 2 years, with an all-time great clashing head-to-head with the league's youngest up-and-coming megastar. LeBron was currently on the hunt for his first ring, and this was his second NBA Finals, so he had a major vendetta here and was eager to get a championship for his city. And unlike the series with Kobe, KD and Bron would be each other's one-on-one matchup, which created for some thrilling moments as the two heavyweights went shot for shot down the stretch of games. But also, unlike the battles with Bryant, this would be anything but climatic. Phoenix had the far better supporting cast over Cleveland, and they were being exposed in every single opportunity of this series. Just the same as when LeBron was getting swept against the Spurs in 07, there was only so much that one man could do on his own. This series wasn't even close. The Suns were victorious here in the finals, meaning not only would Durant earn his first ring, but in this reality, Steve Nash was now a champion as well. And while Kevin mopped the floor with LeBron here, this rivalry was just beginning. because there's only a matter of time before we see more of the king. But for now, Durant held the crown, and it would be awarded as he was recognized as the Finals MVP and praised from the media.
But Kevin Durant is right there. There's levels to this, man, and this brother is that special.
If you'd like to win money, play free fantasy basketball, and collect sports cards, you'll love today's sponsor, Sorare. Think of it as fantasy basketball combined with collecting sports cards to create an experience where you can win part of $100,000 in rewards during the NBA Emirates Cup, and you can sign up to play today and have a chance to win some cash all for free. But if that's not enough to have you head into the link in the description down below to sign up, this next part will. Sorare is giving away tickets to Vegas to experience the semis and finals of the NBA Emirates Cup in person with VIP access. And the best part is entering the giveaway is incredibly simple. All you have to do is purchase a card on NBA Cup nights, which are every Tuesday and Friday until December the 3rd. So don't waste any more time. Sign up for Sorare right now by using the link in the description, and you'll also get 20% off up to $100 in credits on your first purchase. I've been playing a ton myself. This is one of the lineups I used a couple of weeks ago, and I got 134th, which isn't the best, but I still got a 4-star prize. And this is my lineup I'm going to use in this next week, which I'm pretty confident is going to do even better than that one. So go sign up now, and major shout out to Sorare for sponsoring today's video. Following the huge ring, Durant wasn't skipping a beat come the next season. For some teams, it's easy to become complacent after going all the way, but that wasn't the case for Durant. Picking up right where he left off, still scoring at will, and by all accounts, it was looking like the Suns were poised to go back-to-back. But everything was changing, because out of nowhere, Phoenix was shipping KD to the Nets, forcing him to play with a complete circus of a team, a group that only won 12 total games in real life. Nonetheless, he'd be optimistic when he arrived and would do everything in his power to attempt to carry this team into the playoffs to at least have a chance. No longer having Nash setting him up for easier looks would make things more difficult in theory, but at the end of the day, we're talking about one of the greatest scorers of all time, and as such, he was still finding a way to get things done. Game after game, he was clawing his way up the standings for the playoff push, and this team was quickly becoming one of the biggest underdog stories of the year. He was capturing not only the attention, but the hearts of fans as he attempted to turn this franchise around. And while his efforts were heroic, in the end, he'd be falling short. But there was a bright side to the story. Failed to make the playoffs, but he did not fail to earn a trophy. Durant's first MVP comes a lot sooner than expected. I don't know if we've ever had an MVP in NBA history. He traded midway through the season, but we have one here in this sim. And even after earning the MVP, Durant was still relentlessly working on his game that offseason. But as he worked on his personal craft, he was also demanding his team to go out and get him some help. And luckily for him, they would do just that. They were adding an all-star point guard, Darren Williams, to the mix. And while he wasn't as talented as Steve Nash, Williams was still good enough to relieve some of the pressure off of KD. Now with Williams opening things up for the team, the playoffs were well within reach. And they would be assured with the way Durant was playing. Yet again, we'd witness near perfect play all year long, with more incredible stats leading his second MVP in a row, surpassing his total in real life. And it wasn't just his exceptional play that was continuing. The underdog hero story was following him this year too, as his jersey sales would be at the top of the league, with the fans of New Jersey still picturing him as the man to save their franchise. But come the playoffs, there was one major hurdle in the way, and it was a familiar face that was still eager for revenge. This was a completely different situation than the finals 2 years ago. LeBron now had a very strong supporting cast with him and was still looking to win a ring. On top of that, he was being fueled by a desire to reclaim the throne over KD, who has recently had all the hype while winning the recent MVPs. We'd be seeing the best version of LeBron here in this matchup, and it showed with the score of the series. Luckily, Game 3 was moving to friendly territory for the Nets, and they say a series doesn't really begin until someone wins on the road. So with that said, Durant still had plenty of opportunity to get back into the series and attempt to earn a trip to the finals, but come late in the fourth, the Nets season could be at risk. Right now, the Nets are down 2-0 in the series, and with just over 2 minutes left in the game, down by 3, they need to start scoring now, because if they go down 3-0 in the series, this one could be over. Williams with the ball here. Kevin Durant trying to get open. He's getting the screen. Durant from deep three-point range. Bang! There's not a shot KD doesn't love. Miami on the other end now. Kevin Durant just tied this game up as only, a third-year player. Dwayne Wade, the pass down low to Dallas gets wide open. Miami ends up taking the lead again. Kevin Durant with the ball now, bringing it up, down by 2, almost in the same position they just were in. LeBron sticking KD. Kevin Durant looking to score again, keeping his Nets within this game and within this series. LeBron James sticking him, the screen from Brook Lopez. KD throws it down to Brook, but Ilgauskas steals it. LeBron off to the races. One man to beat. He slows it down. He's driving in on KD. LeBron in the post. KD's defense. It's off KD the board. On the fast break the other end. The New Jersey Nets with the ball. Durant, pump fake, nowhere to go. Over Chalmers. It's off. I can't believe it. I thought that shot was going to go right there. LeBron James with the ball now. Kevin Durant guarding him. LeBron one-on-one. Chris Bosh. Chris Bosh doesn't want the shot. He's throwing it over to Dwayne Wade. Who is this guy guarding him? He's got a leprechaun on. Look at this little dude. Who is that? Dwayne Wade driving it in his lane. No, it's good. I have no idea who was guarding Wade there. I think it might have been Jordan Farmar or Devin Harris. I don't know who that little fella is. Nonetheless, though, they're down by 4 now. It was Farmar. Down by 4. Kevin Durant, you got to score here to stay in this series. Kevin Durant, the spin move. LeBron sticking him. Durant drives in the tough lay. He gets it in. Miami now, 35 seconds left. You get a stop here and you have a chance to tie us into overtime or hit a 3 and take the lead, potentially win the game. The screen, LeBron going nowhere. Durant sticking him, smothered. LeBron almost out of bounds. He might have traveled. LeBron picks it up now. Gives it to Mario Chalmers. Dwayne Wade with the little fella on him again. The screen, Chris Bosh. Wade, pull up. That's not a good shot for him. That's what you want him taking. They get the board. New Jersey pushing the pace. Farmar, 1 minute to beat Farmar. What are you doing, Farmar? Wow. LeBron James, not necessarily the best free throw shooter ever. He does hit the first, though. There is a world where LeBron could miss this second free throw. He's not a great free throw shooter. He puts them up by 4. The only way New Jersey has a chance here, they have to get a quick inbound 3, I think, if you're going to have any opportunity to win it. Kevin Durant in the corner. KD. It's off. That's going to do it. After going down 3-0, the New Jersey group knew that their season was essentially over at this point, and as a result, their motivation was clearly down in Game 4, with Miami walking all over them and winning in a sweep, eventually going on to win in the NBA Finals, allowing LeBron to retake the throne over KD, but he wasn't stopping there. The following season, LeBron was putting an end to Durant's run of MVPs by earning one of his own, but Kevin had more important things to tackle. The Nets had just changed locations to Brooklyn this season, and as such, there was very high expectations from this team. While donning the new threads, our star was still putting up the same numbers that we've come accustomed to from him so far. Not earning the MVP this year was no concern of his, with the main priority being getting the city a championship. He and his group were fighting hard to shock the world and contend for a ring, and they'd be making great strides all year. In the postseason, they would make quick work of the teams in their way in both the first and the second round, but that was only the start. Of course, again, the Miami Heat were waiting in the conference finals. And unfortunately for Durant and the Nets, a sparkly new uniform wasn't going to be making a difference from getting swept and winning the series. Again, Miami was far too stacked for the Nets to keep up with, and no matter how hard these fans were cheering for their underdog superstar, the Nets simply didn't have enough. Miami was winning this one for the second straight year, and it was abundantly clear KD needed some help. Luckily, the help had been there the whole time. It just wasn't developed yet, because Brook Lopez was becoming an all-star the very next season. All year long, he was one of the better centers in the league, and his nearly 20 points per game were a huge boost to the Nets and exactly the help Durant needed, but there was only one problem. Kevin was out for the season with a torn ACL, just like in his real-life timeline, meaning he was missing a season and watching from the sidelines, and would have a big decision coming in the summer.
So yeah, it was terrible how some stuff went down, but at the end of the day, I love the grind, and we all love the grind there in Brooklyn, and I wish them the best going forward. They got a bright future.
And with his decision to join the Warriors, there was some serious controversy.
Well, I'm viewing it as the weakest move I've ever seen from a superstar. Plain and simple. That's just how I look at it.
After all the work he put in with the Nets and the love from fans, believing he was the man to turn around their franchise and the underdog stories for years, the world was crushed. But Kevin was embracing his new title of being the villain, and he was joining a Warriors team that needed no introduction. Paired with Steph Curry, the greatest shooter of all time, and Klay Thompson, another one of the best shooters. Of course, this is a few years early to when Durant would join the Warriors in our reality, but things would play out pretty much the same. KD was one of the best players in the world by now and continued to amaze the fans regardless of what team he was on. Adding Steph and Klay to the mix only gave him more space to operate and made him even more unstoppable than before. In the Western playoffs, no team could even hold a candle to the Warriors, and with no difficulty, they'd find themselves winning the conference, only to move on to the finals for a rematch against the man who has seemed to be KD's kryptonite the last few seasons. Except this time, it was once again KD who had the team with more talent over LeBron. He was now paired with an excellent team through and through, while LeBron's teammates were past their primes by now. This time around, it was all Durant for the entire series, and before we knew it, the Warriors were easily coming out on top as champions, kicking off what could be many more to come, and I had my predictions. Durant is now officially 2-2 against LeBron in playoff series after this big win. but I have a very strong feeling this isn't going to be the last win we see with this team. It would turn out that I was completely right, because the Warriors were playing LeBron and his Cavs the next 2 seasons. And given the fact that they split these series closely in real life, there was no surprise that adding a 2-time MVP Durant would make this a landslide in Golden State's favor, giving Durant 2 more championships for a total of 4 now, and a record of 4-2 against LeBron, all before we were having another change of scenery. We were finally arriving at the stretch of Durant joining the Thunder, where he was joining an athletic superstar Westbrook. This is the year that Durant originally left OKC in our reality, so everything here would be uncharted territory, and he was starting this new era off with a bang. It's been a while since his last regular season award, but he was making early efforts to engrave his name in Thunder history by earning his 3rd career MVP, and a lot of it was due to him scoring a new career high, which was easily leading the league. But that regular season success was in jeopardy come the Western Conference Finals, where Durant was face to face with his old team and was now giving it his all to try and stop them. The glaring issue, however, was the fact that not only did the Warriors have a prime Curry and far more talent, but they also had more finals experience. Durant was the only player on the Thunder that's ever been to the finals, which would be a major handicap for this group. That being paired with the fact that the only other player in his team scoring double digits was Russ, and you pretty much have an insurmountable hurdle of overcoming the Warriors, regardless of Durant averaging 33 points a game in an attempt to carry his group. After being on top of the basketball world for years, Kevin was coming back down to reality. At least for now, because the next season the Thunder were adding some serious star power to the roster. They were acquiring Paul George, and that wasn't all. They were also adding Carmelo Anthony, one of the few players close to as talented as Durant at scoring the ball. Overnight, the Thunder went from no supporting cast to what seemed to be an unlimited amount of firepower. The 4 stars together were combined for an unprecedented 98 points per game for the season, and no team was built with enough stopping power to get in the way of this roster. But if any team could outgun OKC, it would be the Warriors, who they were facing off against come the playoffs. This time around, Durant had plenty of help to keep up with the insane 3-point shooting from Curry. OKC certainly wasn't going to be making as many threes, but nearly every possession was resulting in a successful basket one way or another. But even still, the Warriors were fighting back hard, and this wasn't going to be some easy series. They'd find it all knotted up come Game 5, and with the majority of Game 5 winners going on to win the series, it was no surprise that both teams were locked in here and would be deadlocked late. We have a nail biter here late in Game 5. The series is all tied up, and typically the team that wins Game 5 usually goes on to win the series in NBA history. Russell Westbrook with the ball, driving it on Steph. Way too strong. He gets the lay. Huge shot from Russ right there to get the lay over Steph Curry, but Steph now has a chance to retaliate. A minute and 15 seconds remaining in this game. Up by 2 for OKC. Steph off the screen to pull up 3, but there's a moving screen. That might be the most unrealistic thing I've ever seen happen in a 2K hop-in. Have the Warriors ever got to move a screen? Russ again. He gets a little 4-point game. The Thunder are taking complete advantage over the Warriors here late in this game. Moving screen, I've never seen it. Russ is dominating Steph. Now Curry trying to get back here. Steph trying to get some space. He's driving it in. A tough lay. He draws the foul. No surprise that Curry hit both free throws. 2-point game. They're still up in the air. Who wins this? There's a ton of time if you're the Warriors. You just need one stop. But Russ has been dominating Curry so far. He's trying to do it again. Driving to the paint. Curry gets the steal. Russ loses it. The Warriors have a chance now. Draymond Green pushes the pace. He throws it. Andre Iguodala with it. Iggy, is he going to slow it down or is he going to force it? Curry, the deep 3. It's off. It's off. Curry misses. I think that's out in the Thunder, though. Apparently, it was last touch from JaVale. It looks like the Warriors are probably going to foul. You really don't have to if you're Golden State. Maybe they're not going to. It's just a full court press. All right, Russ with the ball now. Steph Curry sticking him. Again, the same match we've seen him multiple times. Paul George this time. Steven Adams the screen. Klay Thompson. They're going to Russ again. They're attacking Curry here in the clutch. Russ over Steph. It's no good. JaVale the board. I would have really liked to see Kevin Durant getting involved there. The Warriors, though, out of a timeout. They have the ball, 15 seconds left, down by 2. You have to imagine Steph Curry is taking his shot right here. 10 seconds left in the game. Steph winding down the clock. He's getting the screen from Draymond. Steph Curry, he's not taking a 3. He's driving it in. Steph, he leans in for 1. It's off. Russ's defense secures the win. And with that big win, history was repeating itself. With the confidence of a strong 3-2 lead, the Thunder were in the driver's seat from here, taking over in Game 6 and not letting this slip away. They were advancing past the Warriors and would have a chance to win OKC their first ever ring. And the only hurdle left in the way was another matchup with LeBron. Except this time, it was practically just him after Kyrie left for Boston, meaning this series would be extremely similar to the real-life 2018 Finals, ending in a massacre of LeBron from a super team out west. The Thunder were easily winning here, with this series being far easier than the Western Conference Finals, and with that, Durant was defeating LeBron yet again. But that would be the last LeBron appearance for a while, because the next season, as Durant and his group were making their way through the playoffs, come the finals, there would be a new foe waiting. Kawhi Leonard and the Raptors were this season's challengers, and they were vastly deeper than the Cavaliers roster OKC battled last year, meaning this wouldn't be as easy. Kawhi himself was established as a top 5 player in the association, and he was rounded out by other motivated all-star caliber players and some fantastic role players comfortable within their role. So without a doubt, this would be Durant's largest hurdle in a while, but he'd make it look easy. When his team needed him the most, Durant was in the midst of having the best series of his entire career, better than his time with the Suns, Nets, or even the Warriors. We were witnessing peak Kevin Durant in this moment, and despite having an incredible defender sticking him the entire time, we'd get a masterclass scoring performance from start to finish, ultimately taking this one all the way to the finish line and completing the repeat. With this championship, Durant has his 6th ring, which means one more and he could be passing Michael Jordan. But getting that 7th ring would be a whole new challenge, with Russ and even Paul George both being traded, receiving in return an old veteran CP3 and a young inexperienced SGA from the Clippers, which meant now Durant had very little help, and it showed. Because while Kevin was playing great personally during the stretch after now receiving more looks with the ball, he still could only do so much as one player trying to carry a weak team. Over the next several years, the Thunder were either losing in the playoffs early or missing the playoffs entirely with a poor record, all until 2024, where the rise of SGA would begin. This year, Shaq was breaking out as a true superstar of this league, and his play was enough to be in MVP conversations, which of course would lead to finally having some serious team success and would be a major help for KD. But even though they had the best record, come the postseason, running into the Timberwolves, their lack of a strong front court would be a glaring flaw in their roster. The large lineup of both Cat and Gobert would take full advantage of OKC, and yet again, they'd be falling short of glory. Luckily, in 2025, they'd addressed the issue by adding Hardenstein as center. And additionally, they even added one of the best defenders in the league for cheap by sending out Josh Giddey to the Bulls. With this new incredibly deep roster with stars from 1 through 5, the Thunder were looking invincible, and some would even say they were the best team ever formed, ending the season with a new NBA record for wins in a year. But then, in the finals, they may be meeting their match, because even though no team in the West even got a single win against OKC in the playoffs, Boston wouldn't fall so easily. Their roster was just as stacked as the Thunder, with incredible players all the way from 1 to 10. And they wouldn't only win a single game, they'd be winning 3 against the Thunder. But this isn't to say this was some bloodbath of Durant and his crew, because they also were fighting hard and pushing this epic duel to the absolute extremes. That's right, they won 3 games as well to force a final Game 7, and it was close. Well, it all comes down to this Game 7 1-point game here late. Oklahoma City with the ball, up by 1 in the lead, 1 minute and 45 seconds remaining. Hartenstein the screen, SJ a wide open pull-up 3 is good. Boston now on the other end. The Thunder extend their lead to 4. Jaylen Brown trying to drive in on Kevin Durant. He's got his length as an advantage. Holiday's jumper's good. Back to a 2-point game with just under 90 seconds remaining. Alex Caruso with the ball. He's getting the screen. It looks like they're going to SJ in the post. No, they find Hartenstein. Hartenstein's lays good over Horford. The Celtics now on the other end. Jason Tatum and Porzingis waiting to check in. For now is Jaylen Brown trying to carry the load. Jaylen Brown kicks it to Derek White. He's getting the screen from Horford. Horford with the pass. That's a bad shot. It's off. The Thunder are pushing the pace now, slowing it down. SJ with the ball. He throws it back out to AC. If you score here, this could be huge. It could be the dagger. SGA in the post. SGA, there ain't a shot he don't like, but that one's no good. The Celtics on the other end now. Brown with it. He had a wide open lane. He's slowing it down, though. Brown drives it in, draws the foul. Almost a M1. Jaylen Brown just missed the first free throw in the clutch of a Game 7. OKC fans maybe getting to him. He almost missed both. He does get down when they're up by 3 now. OKC, that is. With the ball, Boston desperately needs a stopper. This one could be over. SGA with the ball, trying to put the nail in the coffin here. He's driving it on Drew Holiday. He draws the foul. It almost went. SGA hit both of his. Now Boston is down by 5 with 30 seconds left. They don't have a lot of time. You have to go quick here if you are the Celtics. Time is running short. Jason Tatum, the screen. Brown, it's off. Shet with the rebound. That could do it. Shet did hit both free throws. Boston elected to use their last timeout. I don't know if I agree with that. I feel like you should have just went quick. You might need that timeout here late. Jaylen Brown was about to pull it, but it's going to be Porzingis. That's off. Kevin Durant, who else with the rebound? And it's looking like the Boston Celtics are conceding defeat. They're not even going to foul. This one is over. The Thunder are NBA champions. Durant has officially won championship number 7, passing MJ and also concluding an illustrious career full of accolades, leaving all of you watching the question, is Kevin Durant now the GOAT?